Hi guys, Die of Death got a QOL update recently, and I just kind of wanted to go over it before the big one. I don't normally make commentary videos like this, so if you want to see a few more like it, let me know by, leaving a like, or a comment, or even subscribing. Haha, yeah, subscribe, baby, Anyways, on to what's actually changed. We're gonna start with smaller things and move on to the bigger things, and there are some sort of big things in this update, so yeah, here we go. Alrighty, so to start us off, there is a new NPC in the lobby! His only purpose in this world is to talk about the update. That's it, he serves literally no other purpose. After talking to him once, he has a second dialogue thing where he just greets you, and that's all he does. Oh, also, the point cap was raised to 110,000 points. And a little fun fact about this guy, when he released without any unique animation. They had to be added later as stated in this update log. On to the next changes, Defesto has gotten his vocal cords removed due to Running with Scissors reaching out and requesting that the voice lines are removed from the game. An announcement was made in the server stating that everything was handled privately and they are in fact on good terms with Running with Scissors. It was merely a misunderstanding and some oversight on the Die of Death devs' parts. Burn! In other news, Ragekin has gotten their own unique theme, and they lost that theme, and they got it back again. It's actually playing in the background of this segment. Let's give it a wonderful listen! Wow! Moving on to the small gameplay changes, starting with Badware, the placement of computers is now consistent across all skins. I had no idea that it wasn't before. So, good on you, Die of Death team. Caretaker's ability is now slightly more audible than before, allowing for players to more easily recognize when Caretaker is about to heal them.
And on to the killers, baby, let's go, oh-ho-ho!
Starting off with Harkin. Harkin actually got a bit of quality of life changes in this update, so let's go over them. Immolate now provides global aura reading whenever it is being used, meaning that a few seconds after you have immolated yourself, you can now see where survivors are. This effect goes away whenever bleed ends for Harkin. Alongside this, Artful's music box has also received a very similar change. Whenever Artful uses a repurposed music box, Artful is now able to see all of the survivors on the map for the duration of the music box's lifetime. Hey, so it's editing me here. I would like to add a small correction. The aura reading only lasts for like a few seconds after using Immolate or the repurposed music box. So yeah, whoopsie daisy. Now, moving back to Harkin. Whenever Harkin uses Immolate, she gains a +5 speed boost if greater than 75 studs away from a survivor. Whenever you reach a 75 stud distance from a survivor, the speed boost is removed and you return back to your normal speed. Alright, on to the big stuff. The main attraction of this quality of life update has been the map rebalancing changes. All the maps currently in the game have received at least one minor tweak or change that makes them, in my and the dev's opinion, less miserable to play on than before. These are all, of course, band-aid fixes and are not to represent the final product of the big one. However, from milestone leaks, I am willing to believe that these can give us somewhat of a hint as to what to expect from the general map rebalances in the future. Anywho, let's start off with... Yeah, there's not much to talk about on this map. I originally wrote in my script that there was going to be like, oh, maybe this fence was added or this log was added, but yeah, no. Literally nothing was changed. I didn't look at the update logs close enough, and yeah, no, nothing changed. So let's move on to
Temple, baby, let's go, the second one bounce map.
As far as I can tell, Temple has only received 2 real changes this update. This area down here now has a little extra loop, these 2 pillars being down there, and up here by Killer Spawn now has a loop with these 2 statues. That guy also still looks at you. Anywho, let's move on. The HQ. Now, The changes in the HQ are fairly small, however, they are still substantial. Most of the areas of the HQ remain the same except for the one main survivor spawn, where if we move on over to here, we can see that there are plenty more boxes in this loop. Of course, they are all breakable, but it is to make the loop just a little bit more bearable for the future update. Nothing has changed over by the basement. However, right out in front of the basement, there is actually a blocked off outside area that you can no longer go to, sadly. So maybe that will be removed next update, who knows. On top of that, they have moved the entrance to this area a little farther over, and they have added a chair to this blank area. Truly the best rebalancing change this game has ever received. Alright, so, Baseplate. This map actually did receive quite a few changes, and it's mostly on the survivor side. So, they've added some carts on tracks over here by the survivor side killer door, so as to make the area a little less of a dead zone and less of a dead end as well. Moving on over to the two adjacent killer doors, they have increased the size of this platform, and if we go over to this survivor spawn area, they have added a one-way ramp. This will be a very recurring theme throughout these Band-Aid fixes, which is why they are Band-Aid fixes. But yeah, get used to one-way ramps. Over on both bridges and the canals, nothing has really changed. However, over by killer spawn, there's been one little small notable change. This wall. That's it. I think that was changed. I don't know why they would have added it, but who knows? Maybe they did. I might be stupid.
Yeah, that's Baseplate for you. Anywho, let's move on.
Okay, that's a bit rude. I didn't really get to finish the previous segment, but whatever. Alright, so over by both survivor spawns, they have added one-way ramps. One to this area that was previously a dead end, and one to this loop. Yep. Moving over to this little area with minecarts, we can see that they have actually lowered some of the walls up by this elevated area. That's pretty much it for there. Now, let's move on over to the killer area. Over by the killer spawn, the loop has been changed dramatically. The area that used to be a killer door is now another one-way ramp. And the killer door has been moved to the stairs, making it easier for the killer to cut people off and more effectively prevent this loop. Aside from that, that's the only real changes from Teapot Paradise. Now, let's move on to... This is one of, if not the most changed maps in this update, which I think is funny is the fact it'll be removed in the massive update to come. Looking at the update logs, it reads like they're just putting it down. Poor guy.
Anywho, they added super retro gubbies.
And Super Retro Man with revolving torso. Suggest that one to BFDIA. Aside from that, pretty much all the loops, with the exception of the one in the middle of the map, have been changed in some way. Starting off to the left of the big retro glass houses, we can see that everything that made this loop suck is gone. The walls in the middle have been removed, and the Retro Man keeps his watchful torso over this area, with his blue bricks behind him. Moving a bit further away from the glass houses, we see that this loop has been changed, yet again for the better. It has been cut in half, the walls have been lowered, and this thing is connected to the wall. Beautiful. Moving up here, we see the retro guppies I was talking about earlier. Migrating over to the right side of the glass house we see that I like the changes. The loop by the rock now has a killer door going through it. These walls have been shortened, and back here there are now two one-way ramps. This allows for the survivors to run to two separate loops, but also killers that can place traps are able to block off one of the exits or encourage survivors to go to the other one, controlling the map more in their favor. Also, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, but I believe there are more retro orange boxes in this map now. So retro. So retro. It's just so retro. Now, I gotta confess something before I go into this one. I originally hated the changes for this map, entirely because I was coming from the perspective of an artful player that loved to trap inside of the cave. However, after seeing an artful player actually properly playing this map, I can say this is probably one of my favorite maps in terms of changes. For both Survivor and Killer, by the way. Now, with that short preface out of the way, I should state that I feel like this map and GlassHouses are arguably able to be switched anywhere on this placement. I'm going from minor to major changes after all, but these have both received pretty major changes. I'll let you decide in the comments below. But moving straight to the cave, right off the bat we can notice quite a few things are different. There is an additional exit added to the cave that leads straight to a survivor spawn. Outside the cave there is also a fallen tree making a choke point. That's a really good area for Artful's walls. This area altogether makes a decent loop, but also presents many unique options for escaping killers when going through the cave. Heading over to the other survivor spawn, the log from the trees over at Killer's Head has now been moved over here, combining the two trees. Alongside that, 2 boxes have been added to make the loop more bearable for survivors. Moving across the bridge, we can already see that there is a new killer door introduced up here. Alongside this, there is a one-sided ramp that looks an awful lot like something from a previous milestone. We can also see another fallen tree here that makes up another choke point, and a little past that is a loop where we used to have connected trees. Moving up to the elevated area once more, we can see that this little ice protrusion now has another little thing coming out of it. I can only assume that this is to make the area significantly less deadly against killjoys, maybe? I don't really know that. And now, moving down to the area with the purple snowball, this area used to be a dead zone with literally nothing to help you other than little hiding spots. However, now it has a loop in it, and also the snowball is blocked off on the bridge. I don't know if these boxes here are new. But that's really all the changes brought along in this quality of life update. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more like it, let me know. Please. I really want to get into uploading more regularly. I really am interested in making more Die of Death content, so if you do want to see more of that, let me know, and I'll be sure to make it. Also, I have to figure out how to make thumbnails. Okay, bye.